Hello, I wanted to show you one of my favourite plants in the garden. This is Geranium phaeum. I think it's the variety samovar, and it is fantastic for pollinators. It's tough as old boots. This one's happy in the sunshine, in full sun, although that might be because I buried in its roots a little bit with crock. It has lovely little maroon flowers that keep coming all summer if you deadhead it, and it will actually flourish and flower in areas that are so shady that nobody else will. And the bees, the hoverflies will keep coming, keep getting a good feed off it, right up until the autumn months. So it's a cracking plant, but it does get into quite a big clump. So I'm just going to split this one up. I've already loosened it with a big fork, and I'm going to take a small fork to it as well. You do have to be a bit brutal with it, but it's not terribly deep rooted. Up it comes. This one's got lots of growing points, and that will turn into a really nice big clump on its own without further ado. You just need to keep it relatively well watered if it's warm especially. But yeah, let's crack on. What I actually want to do with this area is combine some architectural interest with this old variety damascena rose with the wildlife value of the geranium. Roses in general are not terribly useful for wildlife. The flowers are very congested with petals, but the leaves of this might actually be interesting to leaf cutter bees, and that's a perfectly good reason to give it house room. It's also beautiful. So what can you do? You really don't need to dig a very big hole. Their root system is quite shallow, but that actually kind of makes them a little bit more disconcerting to plant because you don't really feel as if you're doing anything. You just sort of pop them in and gather the soil around them and give them a gentle prod down into the soil so that they're making contact. And after that you give them a good water and leave them to it. But there's something slightly tricky that I want to do to this rose, and we'll see if it works. Other than amazing catkins, hazel withies really are one of the most sensible reasons you'd have a hazel tree in the garden, because they're really useful for making hurdles and training roses. And all I'm actually doing is bending them and sticking both ends in the ground. I'll go and get some wool. You want the pieces about as thick as your thumb really, much more than that, and they won't bend properly. About 5 to do this job, just to make a circle around the rose, and in a moment we'll tie it together and then it'll be really sturdy. Sometimes they break. If you just bend them slightly, it gives them more inclination to bend. I suppose it breaks some of the fibres inside, but obviously you have to gauge it and not bend them too much. You might want to think about bringing them inside before you put your sticks there. Right, now we can get to the interesting bit, which is trying to get the roses to do what we want them to. Some varieties of rose are really quite flexible, and that sometimes means that you can get them to bend into interesting shapes. So let's see what we can get it to do. It's a simple knot. You go around the stem that you're training, cross in front of it, and then finish the 8 to the thing that you're training it to. That gives something to cushion the stem and the training support so that it doesn't rub too much. And don't tie it too tightly because it needs a little bit of leeway to grow. So I'm quite happy with that. The branches are laid down, and apparently when they're more or less horizontal they'll flower more. It's a slightly more interesting shape than just all sticking up. It doesn't need a wall or anything like that to train it against, and it'll be underplanted all the way around with really good pollinator food. That'll do as an afternoon's work, and I'm going to go and have a cup of tea.